Hi everyone, in this video we are going to learn how to classify conics and how to convert our equations into standard form of one of the conics that we have learned. So let's dive right in. So I want to look and see how I can fill in this blank in order to make a true statement. So what I do know is I have x minus 2 to the power of 2. So I really have x minus 2 two times. Now in order for me to do that, what I'm going to notice is that I actually can say I have negative 2, but then when I square it, because I have it twice, or I'm multiplying negative 2 times negative 2, I'm actually going to get 4. And if I do the same thing for my second question, I have x plus 5 two times. Well, then 5 times 5 would get me that 25. So then in order for us to convert a general equation into one of the standard forms that we know of, our four conics, you're going to have to use this process called completing the square. And what that does is that it transforms what we have into a perfect square trinomial that can be factored. So what you're going to do is you're going to follow the rule. So I'm going to take this term that's on my x to the first term, and I'm going to take that coefficient and I'm going to divide it by 2, and then I'm ultimately going to square it. So that way it becomes a term that we can go ahead and factor. So let's take this process and then go ahead and convert in standard form on our conics equations. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the center and the radius of this circle. And if you notice that it's not written in standard form. So your process is going to be as follows. You're going to find the similar terms and sort of put them together and move the constant number to the other side. So we're going to take x squared and we're going to take our minus 10x. We're going to put those terms together. We're also going to go ahead and take that y squared and this 4y and keep them together. And then again, remember we're leaving some space here, and then we're equaling, and then we're going to move this 13 to the other side, so we will have to subtract. So what we're going to do is just like our completing the square process, we're going to take half of the degree to the first power, and we're going to square that. So we're going to take negative 10 divided by 2, and then we're going to square it. So that would get me a positive 25. And then here's my degree 1 term. So I'm going to take that b, divide that by 2, and square it, and that's going to get me a positive 4. So the numbers that you found to complete the square, you're also going to have to balance your equation out. So you're going to add them to the other side. So we're going to add 25, and then we're also going to add the 4. So now what we can do is we can factor our left side and then simplify our right side. So you've got our x and then our minus 5, because again, remember this was the term that will help us to factor. And then we've got our plus, and then we've got our y, and then our plus 2, and then we squared it. So again, our 4 divided by 2, that was getting us that plus 2. And then if we simplify the right side, what we're going to get is we're going to get 16. So here we have an equation of our circle in standard form. And so what we can do is now we can go ahead and find our center, and that would be at positive 5 and negative 2. And my radius, which is here, this is r squared, that would be 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and convert this equation in standard form. So let's group the like terms that we have. So 4x squared, we have a minus 24x. We're going to leave some space. We've got plus y squared plus 6y. Again, leave some space. We will be moving the 9 to the other side, so we're going to subtract 9. So before we can complete the square, we do have a 4 in front of that x squared. So we are going to have to factor that out. So we got a 4, we got x squared minus 6x. And so now let's go ahead and see what we can do here. We're going to take half of 6 and then square that. So that's going to get us 9 here. Now, remember when we take this 9 that we added to help us complete the square, because you actually had that 4 that we factored out, when you add to the other side, you're actually going to add 4 times 9, which is 36, not just the 9. So just be mindful of that. We are going to do plus y squared plus 6y. We will take half of 6 and then square that. Again, that's going to be a plus 9. And then again, if we added 9, we're going to add 9 to this side. So what we will get is we will get 36. So now let's go ahead and sort of reorganize what we have here. We can factor this, and let's take that 4 because we do have to keep it there. Let's take our x, and then this will be a minus. This got us 3, and that'll be squared. And then we're going to go ahead and take the y, and with 6 over 2, which was that 3, so 3 squared. And then we had this equal to 36. So in this question, you actually have an ellipse. And with the ellipse, the way that you notice is you have x squared and you have a y squared. And you have a plus sign in between our terms there. Now remember with an ellipse, the ellipse is equal to 1. So we are going to have to divide what we have by 36 here. So we're going to go ahead and simplify that. So we've got, let's say, x minus 3 squared, and then 4 over 36 is the same thing as 1 over 9. So this is over 9 plus, we can't really simplify what you had here. So it's going to stay over 36, and we do have this equal to 1. Now remember with ellipse, the bigger number is always the a squared. So what you have here, like that. And because our a squared is under the y, this is going to be a vertical major axis here. We do have a center that we can find, and that's going to be at positive 3, negative 3. So we can go ahead and put our center at 3, negative 3. We've got a squared, and a is going to be plus or minus 6, and in the y direction. And then for our b value, that is going to be plus or minus 3 in the x direction. And now what you have is the ability to draw your ellipse. Okay. In the next question, again, let's go ahead and put our like terms together. So you have an x squared here. You do then have a minus 9 squared plus 36y. Again, we're going to add 45 to the other side. All right, so we have just x squared here. Now, we do have a 9 in front of our y squared, so we will factor that out. So this will get us a minus 4y. Let's go ahead and complete the square here. So half of 4 is 2, and that's squared, that's 4. So that's what we have here. And then again, we had that 45. So now when you're going to place our constant on the other side, you have a 4. You also have a minus 9, so that's a negative 36. We're going to add that negative 36 there on the right side. There's nothing for us to add from the x squared because we don't have to complete the square there. So let's go ahead and see what we can do here. We have x squared. You've got that minus 9, and then you have y minus 2 squared, and that is equal to 9 on the right side. Now, what you have here is you actually have a hyperbola. Now, how do we know that? We have x squared and we have y squared. You have a minus sign between our squared terms. The thing for you to remember is that, again, a hyperbola will also be equal to 1. So we are going to have to divide everything by 9 here. Now, you've got x squared over 9. minus, and then our 9s are going to simplify. So you have y minus 2 squared. 9 over 9 is 1, and that equals 1. Now remember, with a hyperbola, your a squared is always going to be first, and because your a squared is on the x, this will be horizontal. Now, you do have a center that is at 0, positive 2. Your a value is going to be plus or minus 3, and then your b value is going to be plus or minus 1. Now, let's go ahead and plot what we know. We have 0, 2 for our center. We're going to go on the x direction. We're going to go to the right 3. And in the y direction, we're going to go up 1 and down 1. Okay. Now remember, with a hyperbola, this is going to help you to make that box, which will then help you to figure out how to draw your asymptotes, which will help you to see how to make the branches of your hyperbola. Now your vertices, which were the positive, are on the x, so your vertices are what we plotted here in the green color. So now what we can do is we can take our green vertices there and make our branches for our hyperbola. So in this question, what you're going to notice as we try to put like terms together, you're actually going to notice you only have one term that is squared, which happens to be an x squared. So that should indicate to you that you are going to have a parabola. So that's the only one that's going to have only one term that is squared. So what we're going to do is we're going to have just the x squares be on one side. So my x squares and my 14x. And then what we're going to have on the other side is we're going to move over the 4y in addition to the 29. So we're going to minus 29 on the other side. Now, in order for me to complete my square here, I'm going to take half of 14, which is 7, square it, which is a positive 49. So if we added 49, we're going to add 49. Now we're going to go ahead and factor. So we had x plus 7 squared. So we're going to have a 4y, and then we're going to have a positive 20. Now remember, with the parabola, it's either going to be an x equals or a y equals. So what we will have to do is we are going to then move the 20 to the other side. So we're going to have x plus 7 squared minus 20 is equal to 4y. We're going to divide everything by 4, because we are going to get y by itself. So we always had like x equals or y equals again. We have x plus 7 squared, and we do have 1 over 4. And remember, with a parabola, we always had that 1 over 4p that was in the front. So we had some type of fraction that was in the front. And then we had minus 5 here. Now this is, again, because this is y equals, this will be a vertical parabola, so opening either up or down. So in this case, it will be opening up. My vertex here is going to be at -7, -5, so we can go ahead and plot that. All right, so we can find a couple other points here. We had our vertex, which was -7, -5. What we can do is, again, you can try to look for some numbers that are easily divisible by 4 that we can square root. So that would be, try to find something that's 16. So I can get x plus 7 squared equals 16. You have the square roots of plus or minus 4. If you're going to subtract 7, your x is either going to be -3 or it's going to be -11. So -3, -11. To find our y value, we're just going to take 1/4 of 16 and then minus 5. So that is 4 minus 5, which is -1 for the y values. And now you can plot those points. You got -3, -1. We're a little off, but we can just guesstimate right about there. And you have your parabola that opens up. When we want to convert this equation to standard form, we do see that every term is divisible by 2. So let's divide everything by 2 here. You're going to get x squared plus y squared minus 6x plus 2y plus 1 equals 0. That just actually helps us when we are rewriting our terms together and we're having coefficients that are, let's say, just 1. So let's group together what we have. We have x squared minus 6x. We're going to go ahead and complete the square. That's -6 divided by 2 squared, which gets us a 9. Then we are going to have y squared plus 2y. Again, we got 2 divided by 2, square it, and that's going to give us a plus 1. We are moving this 1 to the other side. We added 9, and then we also added 1 here. So what we will do now is we'll go ahead and factor. So we have x, and then minus 3 squared, and then we have y plus 1 squared, and that equals 9. So in our circle, this is actually a circle, your coefficients are 1, you have both terms that are squared, and then you do have equal a radius. So now if we find our center, we have 3 and -1, and we have a radius of 3. So we can do 3, -1, and plot our radius, and we can go ahead and draw our circle. Thanks for learning with me today. Don't forget to check out our other playlists on other pre-calculus videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day.